All right, so I tried to call Zach and tell him I had the flu, but he didn't take that. So anyway, I appreciate you guys having me. I love coming back. This is home to me, really. I've spent most of my career coaching in the northeastern part of Oklahoma, and so obviously at the University of Tulsa, and spent a lot of time here. I actually played college football at East Central University in Ada, Oklahoma. So I've ridden many buses up and down the roads here in Arkansas, playing the Arkansas Tech Wonder Boys and the Henderson State Reddies, and I got probably the biggest butt kicking I've gotten in my life from Buddy Benson at a Ouachita Baptist. You guys know who Buddy is. So, quick story there. I was a young coach. We were talented. We had some really good players. Those players I actually wound up winning a national championship with at East Central University. And we rolled over into an OBU, Ouachita Baptist, and Buddy was there, and I remember going out to pregame. I really learned a lot about coaching. I walked out there pregame and I looked down there at their guys, and I don't know if you guys have seen the Ouachita Baptist, but back when Buddy was there, they were short and slow. And I looked down there and I told our guys, that, man, we're going to kill these guys. And Buddy, we blitzed and attacked, and they ran. I think they had over 200 yards on the screenplay, and it was a humbling experience going across and shaking his hand. But I love the experience that I've had here. I had an opportunity to recruit this state. Probably the best football player that I've maybe ever coached is a guy named Charles Clay. Out of Little Rock, and one of the best human beings I've ever coached. He's an all-pro tight end for the Buffalo Bills now. And I had a lot of great players. A.J. Whitmore, Slick Shelley, a lot of guys here, and then obviously a lot of the high school coaches. I can tell you this, and one of the reasons why I came here today is when they called me, I didn't hesitate to say yes to come and speak. And the reason why is because of the high school coaches in this area and football in this area, and how good I think it is, and how the quality of men that are running the programs here. And I know there's a lot of them here today. Brian Pratt here I coached, and I was going to tell you guys what a great guy I was, but Brian actually played for me, so I couldn't really do much here on that. But this area is got great football. I thought I would tell you a little bit. Anytime I get an opportunity to come and talk to a place, I want you to know philosophically and the things that I'm talking about today. And I know you guys and where you're at right now and all that. I actually watched the game, Colorado State game, and the North Texas game, and that was hard to watch. And I want you to understand though that there's some things that life's hard, and there's things that are difficult and tough. But I'm going to tell you this: the values that I'm going to talk about a little bit about today. This is something I just want to challenge the people that are here in your life, and maybe there's some things that I'll say today that'll help you a little bit. And then obviously I'm going to talk as much as you want to talk about Chad and Gus. I'd be glad to talk to you about them, but basically it's pretty simple. Both those guys are incredible men, and they're difference makers. And so what I want to talk to you about today is being a difference maker. I grew up in the great state of Texas, and I say that everywhere I go, and people in other states really don't like that for some reason. But I'm going to tell you this: one of the things I know about this place is it's very similar to the place that I grew up. There's a sense of pride in who you are and where you're from. And it's because of the values that you stand for. And so I grew up in Dallas, Texas, and my mom was my inspiration, my hero. I didn't have a dad. I did have a dad, but he ran off. So my mom was the difference maker in my life. And my mom, very simple to explain, who she was. You could see the love of Christ in my mother. My mother was an unbelievable person of faith. And she had an unbelievable impact on my life. She worked 3 jobs. It was very difficult. And so obviously this is where coaching came into play. And I want to talk to the people in this room. If you're in this room today, you can be a difference maker. And I'm going to tell you, I played high school, college, and pro football. I was a 2-time All-American safety. and I played for 3 Hall of Fame coaches. And those 3 Hall of Fame coaches were good football coaches, and they were very knowledgeable. They did not change my life. They were not difference makers in my life. The difference maker in my life was a 7th grade football coach named Buddy Copeland. And Buddy Copeland could chew you out, hug your neck, all in the same sentence. And Buddy Copeland stood for something. And he didn't mind telling you what he stood for. Now, he would get arrested if he coached today, because he was pretty rough. And you know what? I am so thankful that I grew up in that era. I am so thankful. I mean, you know, God forbid something be hard nowadays. You know, it amazes me. I mean, you know, golly, you know, the things, you know, life's hard. You know, I mean, you got to prepare kids. I want kids to know how to be champions in life. And so Buddy did that for me. He taught me work ethic. He actually, we were talking just a minute ago, he actually was the coach that told me it was voluntary mandatory that I go to FCA. All right? Voluntary mandatory. That's a good one. You can have that one for free. But I went to FCA and I got saved under his leadership at 12 years old. And man, I mean, what other impact is there than that one? And he was a coach that had tremendous courage, and he stood for something. And it was values, man. He was a person that was about faith and about family. And obviously he was about football. And there was nothing easy about it. He was hard. He was difficult. These 2 guys over here that played for me, you know, I can tell you, they could stand up here and tell you how hard I was. And I'm going to tell you this, they'd also stand up here and tell you how grateful they were that I was hard. Because it was pretty nice standing on that field getting that national championship trophy. But moreover than that, these guys are championship fathers. They're championship husbands, right? And they're you know, influence and impacting kids, not just to win a football game, but to win in life and teach kids, you know, what it matters in life. Because it's very simple. Here's my whole deal. What Buddy taught me was this. He wasn't interested in me giving good effort. He wasn't interested in me doing a good job. He wasn't interested in me having a good attitude. He was interested in my best, period, in everything that I did, period. And you think about that. You know, that we live in an age of tolerance and compromise, and everybody's, you know, well, I don't have a bad attitude, right? It amazes me. I was talking to a young man back here. We're talking about goal setting. You know, what are your goals? What do you want to do? If you run a business, you know, it's very simple how to be successful. I can tell you, when I look at that, when I watch those games, I can tell you right now, that ain't how it's supposed to look. I'll promise you, and I'll promise you this, Chad Morris is a man of character. Chad Morris is a guy that I hired him from high school. He didn't have one play experience calling plays in college, and I hired him to call plays at my place because I knew without a shadow of a doubt what I was getting. And the things that I'm talking about you probably have not reaped the benefits of that just yet. But I'm going to tell you something, winning matters. And I promise you that he's as sick as anybody right now. But the key is to move forward from that and get better. But, you know, being a difference maker, and one of the things that I tell people, the coaches that are in this room, you know, everybody has goals. You want to be successful in business. You want to be successful as a father. You want to be successful in anything that you do. Who in the world doesn't want to be the best? Period. That's why I tell people, you know, I'm not going to stand up here and tell you, oh, you know, just be patient. And, every place I went, I'd say, hey guys, I tell you, we got a 5-year plan. You know why? Because I wanted a 5-year contract. That's why I had a 5-year plan. All right? But let me tell you this. It never has taken me 5 years. Never. Because you can tell when I start talking about football and I start talking about relationships and building men of character, man, I got a passion about what I'm doing. And so, man, Buddy Copeland was a guy that he wasn't in the Hall of Fame. 39 years of being a 7th grade football coach. He picked me up and took me home every day from school. I don't know how he did that. I mean, it was unbelievable. And a guy named Dale Harbor was another guy that was my pee-wee football coach that would pick me up. I was in the boys club in Dallas, and we played all kinds of sports, and he would pick me up all the time. But I had difference makers. There's people in this room, man, I'd encourage you to be difference makers. There's a lot of kids out there, man. I think of, you know, growing up, no one in my family had ever been to college in the history of my family. I'm dyslexic, which means I learn differently. I'm LD, ADD, I got all the Ds. Thank goodness I didn't grow up today, because I've been heavily medicated. But what I'm telling you is that I had some challenges. And so when I grew up, my granddad, who was a Marine, told me you need to get a trade. So I was actually in vocational education. And when I came in and I met Buddy, Buddy's saying, son, let me tell you something, you're going to go to college. I was the first person in my family to do that. And I actually had to, get out of building trades and vocational education and get in mainstream classroom. Now, I made 2 Bs in high school. And I think of myself, I would have met Buddy Copeland, he wouldn't have got me out of there and got me straight academically, he got me straight spiritually. Man, he would, I would go in there and I'd be feeling bad, because, things were tough at my house. And man, but I'm going to tell you something, Buddy gave you tough love. And man, I'm thankful for tough love. I'm thankful for the things that he gave me. And so what I would tell you, the people in this room, there's people in your life, man, that they need, that people need that. Kids want discipline. They want structure. They want those type things. And so I challenge you, when you go into your home, this is one of the things like with my wife. My wife and I, and she's not here, so I can kind of have the last word when I'm talking to you guys. But my wife will tell me this, and if you're a parent, this is something I'm really passionate about. I call it speaking victory. I'm telling you, every single person in this room, you want to hear people speak victory over you. You want to hear people speak victory instead of defeat. My wife told me, my son, he's 16 years old, he's a strong safety, and man, I have a tackling sled in my backyard, okay? I mean, I'm a fanatic when it comes to football. So in 4:30 in the morning, he's out there tackling that tackling sled. And a lot of people think that's crazy. No, it's not, because he came to me and told me he wanted to be great. And you know what I found out in this world? If you get up at 4:30 in the morning, you eliminate 99% of the people. And it creates structure and discipline in your life. But the biggest thing about my son, you know what I do every night? And I'm trying not to be emotional. But I do prayers with my son every night. And I'm a person of faith. If you don't like that, I'm sorry that you had to listen to me today, because I can't talk about character or anything about winning in life or winning in football or anything and leave faith out of it. All right? But I'm telling you, know what I tell him at night? I go and I do prayers with him at night. And ain't nothing in football compares to those prayers. And listen to having your son pray and listen to that and listen to those prayers. But you know what I tell him right before he goes to bed? I look at him and I said, man, you're a champion. If you think about that and you're in this room, I'm telling you, man, it amazes me the power of our words, especially when you're talking to young people. Because I'm going to tell you this, these guys won a national championship. Boy, I'd like to stand up here and tell you I was smart. You remember, Brian, when I walked in the door, I put on the wall, right? 1 gold champions, national champions. You know why I put that up there? I didn't think we had a snowball chance in heck of winning that. And you know what? Young people have always exceeded my expectations. So I encourage you, and we'll get into talking about Arkansas football and talking about these other guys, but I came here to tell you this. If one person in this room will go home and speak victory over their kids or their grandkids, and you know what? Have them dare to believe that you can accomplish anything. How in the world I'm standing up here and been able to do the things that I've done in my life? One, the good Lord's had the major part of it, I promise you. I've done nothing by myself. My mother spoke victory over me. Buddy Copeland spoke victory over me. And let me tell you something. It wasn't just words. It was action, because there was a lot of work ethic and a lot of sacrifice that comes along with that, with being a champion in life. So I encourage you to, with people in your life, especially young people, you coaches that are in this room, people always have goals. I have guys, what's your goal, son? I want to be the first guy picked in the draft. I'll say, okay, what are you going to do to do that? Well, I'm going to work out, and I'm going to, study the playbook, and well, I don't know if you know it or not, but everybody's doing that. What are you willing to do if being the first guy picked in the draft will make you in the top 1/100 of 1%? Then what are you willing to do? I don't know, Coach, what I need. Okay, get up at 4:30 in the morning. Be willing to set the standard when it comes to integrity and work ethic and discipline. Everybody wants something for nothing, right? And most people are all doing the same thing. You know, I told this story back here about Darrelle Revis. You know, Darrelle Revis is, you know, a great cornerback, and our players said, you know, we want to do what you've done, Darrelle. We want to be the best cornerback in the NFL. How do we do it? He said, you ain't going to. And they said, well, what do you mean? No, tell us how to do it. He said, well, you're not going to. He said, see, while you're playing video games, get your kids off video games. And don't tell me you can't. And I'll tell you, my son, he gets to play video games. It's 15 minutes. That's it. I don't play video games because I like to win. And he beats me every time I play, so I don't play video games. All right, period. Thank God they didn't have that when I was growing up. But you know what I would tell you is that when it comes to Darrelle Revis basically was saying, look, while you want to go do these things, I'm in the film room studying and mastering my craft. You know, while you're laying your head on your pillow and sleeping in late, I'm up early, man, training my body, my mind, and my soul. He said, see, the problem with you guys is you want to be one of the boys, and I'm the man. That's some great advice about being a champion. And so the things in life that are very, very simple, I'm going to tell you this. I came here today to tell you, and I'm going to tell you this, I have just as much belief in Chad Morris as I ever have. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, what's going on right now ain't good. And let me tell you something, this is America. Winning matters, right? You know, they said I went to 10 out of 12 bowl games. I don't care anything about that. Should have mentioned those 5 championships, right? That's what matters, right? It matters to win and be successful. And what I'm telling you, Chad Morris stands for the values that I've talked about today. So's Gus Malzahn. That's why those guys are where they're at. And what I'm going to tell you, when you go into a place in a situation, you know, I've been to 5 different programs. To give you an idea of some of those things that I've done, I went to West Virginia University, who had the #1 turnaround in the country. I went to the University of Tulsa. They had the longest losing streak in college football. We had the #1 turnaround in the country. I went to Rice, at a place that hadn't been to a bowl game since Harry Truman was president, and we went to a bowl game in our first year. The great thing about football is we're only a few games into the season. You evaluate the season at the end of the season. I would encourage you, the things that I'm telling you that Chad is going to bring, he's going to bring relationship. He's going to bring positive relationships in everything that he does. And he's going to start building it from the inside out. He's going to start here in this state. And one of the things I know about this state, I'm going to tell you one of the reasons why I've recruited this state, because you can come here and get the kids to leave. And the kids can stay here for the University of Arkansas to win and be successful. Then also you've got to go to some surrounding areas, in particularly Texas. But what I'm going to tell you, the coaches, high school coaches in this room, that I don't have to tell them this, but I can promise you that Chad's already building relationships that are based on substance, based on values, and that's going to pay its dividends, and it's not going to pay it in a few months. Okay? The other side of it, I'm going to tell you, is, you know, the 2 guys that are playing this week are 2 of the smartest, 2 of the most intelligent coaches that I've been around. That's one of the things when I go to hire coaches. I've got 8 coaches. I've been a head Division I coach 12 years. 8 of my assistants are Division I major college head coaches. So I'm not the smartest guy around, but I can hire them. I promise you that. And so what I would tell you about these guys are very, very smart. They understand the area. But I'm going to tell you this. When you come into a job, you come into a situation, you guys, you're sitting here on A. And obviously what Chad wants to do is Z. All right? And you got to kind of go to G. And we might have tried to jump over here a little bit too far. And what you're going to see is he's going to rein that back in. But give the season a chance. Give him an opportunity. And here's the other thing. What happens now, because and rightly so, it's doom and gloom, right? It's doom and gloom. Let me tell you a little bit about how that works. When I was at Rice, I told you, right, you heard that story, right? Well, when I was at Rice, we started off the year, we played the University of Houston. We had 31-10 at halftime. My quarterback breaks his hand. We lose 32-31. Then we go on the road at Rice. We play at UCLA, at Florida State, and at Texas. Not real good scheduling. All right? 0-4. It gets worse. It gets way worse. Something happened to me that has impacted me as a coach forever. That Sunday we ran and lifted, one of our players died. So my first head coaching job, 0-4, and a player died. And I'm going to tell you, the coaches in this room, man, I'm going to tell you, that profoundly changed me. I'm telling you, man, it's so, man, their well-being is the most important thing, I promise you that. And when I say that in my mind, I can still sit there and remember being in that hospital room and remember watching him take his last breath. And man, I'm telling you, it affected me big time. I didn't want to coach anymore. Man, you want to talk about beat down and doom and gloom. I was like, man, right? Young man's father came in my office the next morning and walked in there, and I thought, oh man, what is this going to be? He basically told me, hey coach, get yourself up off your can and get in there and coach those kids. We won 7 of the next 8 games. I can't tell you what transpired on that football team spiritually. It's unbelievable, the impact that Dale Lloyd had on that team, that his death had on that team. It was unbelievable. And so never in my coaching career have I ever flinched since then. Because you know what, in life's basically we've been knocked on our can. That's embarrassing. I was hurting. I'm not even here. I'm not a part of the program. And man, I was hurting for Chad. I was hurting for the program. That was rough. But what do? You get up off your can. Believe in the guy that's running this thing, because I'm telling you, he stands for something. He's a person of value. And what happens, the system that he wants to run, the things that they want to do, requires quite a bit of training and things. And what I'm going to tell you is that it's just, you haven't seen the benefits that this guy brings. So, I don't know, I hope something that I said to you would resonate with you today, especially when I talk about speaking victory, especially when I talk about speaking victory over your kids. Just try that. Just try that, man. When you go home, just with your grandson or with your son or daughter, just try that. Just look him right in the eye. And I always grab him by his face and I said, man, you're a champion. And watch how powerful that is. Here's the other side of it. I call them the fellowship of the miserable. Man, there's people every day, I'm just telling you now, that's all they do, is gripe and complain and just, you're part of the problem or you're part of the solution. Let me tell you something, there's nothing, don't get me wrong, it isn't okay. That ain't okay. I'll promise you that. It's not okay. When I was at the University of Tulsa, we went into Notre Dame. Where's Zach at? So all you Notre Dame people, we went into Notre Dame. You guys will love this. I know you're glad I brought this up. We went into Notre Dame. We were 21-point underdogs. We'd really, to that point, had not played that well. Our athletic director had a trophy made up that said Tulsa versus Notre Dame participant, to give our team for participating against Notre Dame. And we went into Notre Dame a 21-point dog, and we beat them. And my offensive coordinator on that team was Chad Morris. I'm telling you, I believe in Chad. I'm not, standing up here trying to, not making one excuse. But I'm telling you, you've got the right guy doing it, and he'll get it done. Gus, they're obviously, I'm going to give you a guarantee this week. One of my guys is going to win. All right? Gus is the same. You guys that know Gus, tremendous competitor. Obviously I've got some great shots. I'd like to stand up here and tell you some stories about when I hired Gus. That was like, tell people, it's like when Gus left Arkansas with him and Houston Nutt, it was kind of like who shot JR. It was the most, I wouldn't answer any questions about it. It was unbelievable. But he actually, matter of fact, he was so toxic, I could barely hire him. I almost couldn't hire him. It was very difficult to hire him. And obviously we did great things together there. And but the biggest thing is not the games, that you win. What's important, man, is that you're making a difference, and that you're teaching young people what it is to be a champion in life. And I can tell you, Chad will build it here. And he also, I know what this community stands for. I know what the values are in this part of the country, and he'll be a person that will instill those. I'm gonna tell you, you can win football games without doing the things that I'm talking about today, but you can't win. You can't. You in the end, you won't win. I'm telling you, I've chased wins in my life as a football coach a lot of years, And I'm telling you, I've had a lot of empty wins. I've had a lot of years where I won a lot of games and look back and you know what, I didn't make the difference in the kid's life that I needed to. And man, what feels great is when you do it the right way. And guess what? It's hard. It's not easy. It's not going to be easy. And obviously, you know, there ain't but one way right now, and that's up, right? Because I don't think it can get any worse. So I hope I said something that resonates with you. Man, I appreciate you guys coming here today. You know, I have a passion, man, for making a difference, being a difference maker. And remember what I said. It wasn't the Hall of Fame coach that made the difference in my life. It was my mother, was my inspiration. And it was my 7th grade football coach that changed my life. So be a difference maker. I'll open it up for questions. Is that all right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Am I right on time?
Yeah, you got plenty.
Okay, good.
So what's your plans for the future?
I am, well, for I've been coaching 31 straight years. And so for 3 months, my wife wanted me to retire, and we spent every day together. And then that's no longer. She's ready for me to go back to work. So no, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm going to coach football. These guys in here that play for me know this. When you don't have to even ask that. When they throw dirt on my head is when I'm going to quit impacting and coaching and working with young people. So the plan is, you know, it's been hard. I'll tell you, it's been hard, but it's been great. I've gotten to spend some time with my 16-year-old. That's been really, really special. You know, I'm doing the ESPN stuff, which is, you know, people say, oh, that's really cool. It's not coaching. I really miss that. I enjoy that, doing the ESPN stuff. But the plan is in December, when the cycle comes back around, is to be a head football coach, and I'm working very, very diligently to get back towards home. I'm not a West Coast guy. I don't know if you can figure that out. Anybody else? Any questions about the game, or?
What's your prediction?
What's my prediction? I already gave it. So one of my guys is going to win. No, I'm going to tell you. I hope it's a surprise. I hope it is. I'm going to tell you this, though. I'm going to tell you this. I know Gus, and he's a competitor now. It ain't going to be. Ain't no friends in that deal. You know what I'm saying? And but on the same hand, here's the deal. Here's what I would tell you. The kind of chance that y'all think right now that you got to beat Auburn is the same chance we had when we went to Notre Dame. Well, I tell you. So anybody can, you know, say you ain't got a chance. I think you always got a chance. I can tell you my observations. I thought somebody asked this question. What's my observations of what I've seen? I would tell you that the transition has been a lot more difficult than what was probably anticipated, is what I would tell you. It's not what I see on tape, looks nothing like, because he comes from our coaching family, and it looks nothing like that. What causes that is half people are new, right? You can come in. Arkansas is a different deal. You know, one of the things that I told one of the head coaches over here, you know, one of the things you get to be a head coach, everybody wants to tell you what you should do. You know what I'm saying? And then when you get to be a head coach, you know, you got to talk and you got to say all these things, you got to do all these things, because the bottom line is, you know, it doesn't matter what you say. You know, we're going to be a program about winning championships, period. Nobody wants to do anything else. So it doesn't do you get to say anything other than that. But the whole deal is that I think is, you know, when you bring in that many people together, it's not gone like it needs to go. And I think that you will see him adapt. One of the reasons why, you know, all those coaches I've hired that have gone on to be head coaches, all of them are high school coaches. And the reason what makes high school, people say, why in the world would you hire a high school coach? Because they're teachers. A lot of these guys in college, they ain't got a clue about teaching. I mean, it matters. Unless it's just, you know, I hear this stuff all the time. It ain't about the X's and O's, it's about the Jimmys and Joes. Well, why are they paying you so much money? If it's not about the coaching matters. So, you know, what I think is happened there is that you know, you also, this job and you can get kind of distracted. I'll tell you what happened to me. I was 7-5, beat a top 5 team in the country, beat 3 teams in the top 25, and got fired. And so, and I'm the 3rd winningest coach in the history of the school. And so, you know, and guess what? I'm 100% accountable for it. I didn't get a raw deal. All I had to do is win 5 more games, I'd still be employed. Right? So that's the way it works. And so what I would tell you is that that transition, for whatever reason, is out of kilter, because obviously you shouldn't lose to those guys, to those teams. Now that's not discrediting the other teams, but you know that doesn't help things, because winning is the best thing that builds buy-in and builds the culture. But it is a dramatic change. It's a dramatic change from personality. It's a dramatic change from personality. It's a dramatic change. And what happens, you know, I've been fortunate enough where you know, I've always kind of tried to be conservative how much I changed. I'll give you an example. When I went to Rice, they were a wishbone team. Okay? I come in, I want to run our offense. Run, play action, spread, no huddle, physical offense, right? Well, I came in, we did 25% of the no huddle stuff, and then we ran the triple option. And we just did it out of the gun because the kids could do it in their sleep. So you have to kind of, because the key is in the transition time, you know, every place that I've gone, you know, like when I went to Arizona State, you know, we won 8 games the first year. When I went to Tulsa, you know, we won 10 games the first year. I mean, so you have to have that transition time is hard. And I just think that's kind of what you're dealing with. But on the same hand, how it gets better is everybody getting on board, speaking. What's it going to hurt you? Be positive about what's going on. I mean, there's nothing, it ain't going to get any worse than that, in my opinion. I hope so. But what I'm going to tell you, though, is that, you know, that's what makes it even that much sweeter, is because I can tell you, I can remember the lowest point in my coaching career. I told you that today. I can remember being 0-4. I can remember sitting there and going through that. And you know, it was the people around me that picked me up. I'd like to say that I had a lot to do with it, which I was there, but there were a lot of people that picked me up and helped move me forward. And I'm telling you, you know, I know he's going to get it done. He's got a lot of work to do. And are there things that he would change or do different? I imagine, no doubt. Because actually, I don't think that this was expected at all. So, you know, you just get knocked down, you get back up and you go at it. But at the end of the day, I'm telling you, he's going to win. He's going to win the right way. Yes?
What's your comments on return guys going fair play?
Wow, man, I was hoping you would ask that.
Are we this week going to
Your coverage team needs to make sure. Like to me, that's one of the things I would tell you. That's some of the things that I notice is like, that to me is a deal that, you know, you got to prepare. So what I would tell you, like when you're coaching a punt team, you're going to go till the ball is down. The guy fair catches, we're not running off. We're staying until the ball's handed to the referee. And so you just kind of live and learn from those things. But these are little bitty detailed things. It's obviously that was a deal that I'm kind of shocked the officials didn't blow the whistle, because you know most of the time that would happen like that. But it's the little things. How you win football games is with discipline, and it's just not discipline right now. And that's because there's this transition. And what's so critical to discipline being established is buy-in. Because when things happen the way they happen, and the doom and gloom starts rolling, the players feel that, everybody feels that, and it actually decreases your ability to turn it around, and actually extends your misery.
Coach,
Yes, sir.
talking about buying, I heard the new Nebraska coach say that he wanted all of his players to buy into his system. And he's got some players that make you think they want to buy in, but they haven't. Is that the problem?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, the only thing in my opinion, okay, one of the things you have to understand, it's like when you're a coach, you got to have self-awareness, okay? So like, like I would go to work and go like, man, all these people are nice to me. Well, I'm paying them to be nice to me. I mean, who's going to tell the coach they don't buy into what he's doing? I mean, like I seen the guy's dad that is ripping Chip Kelly. I'm going like, golly, I mean, his son's playing. I mean, his son's actually playing for him, and he's ripping the coach in the media. I'm going like, whoa, man, I don't know how good that. I don't know about that. I mean, so what I would tell you, the only thing that brings about buy-in is winning. That's it. But here's what I'm going to tell you. What Chad's doing is he's building relationships with these kids. He's going to build trust with them. He's establishing the values, a system where it's your best everyday mentality, and how he's going to go about doing it. It takes an enormous amount of energy to do that and focus. I believe this. This is why I told one of the coaches earlier. I was hands-on. I ain't what color socks we wore, I'm involved in. Period. Everything. I didn't have some dude I hired to coach special teams. He did whatever he wanted to. No. I'm involved in everything. And I'm sorry, but most places that win, that's how it is. And because how you get buy-in is you have to drag them forward. You have to go so hard and push it, and you got to strain the softness out of them. And what softness is it's just because they're just not used to doing it this way, right? And so what we believe in character, smart, disciplined, tough players. In that order. Character, smart, disciplined, and tough. The reason why we do that is we're going to train differently than anybody else in the country. We're going to run more, train more, strain more, live more, all the things that we're doing. We train our players because we're going to create a fifth quarter by running a fast tempo, but we are not trying to throw the ball all over everywhere. We're trying to run it down your throat. That's what we're trying to do, right? And to win in the SEC, there's a particular formula to do that. And the formula for Arkansas is not the formula for Alabama. It's different. And so the key is that you have a definitive, unique plan about how you go about doing that, and then it takes an enormous amount of energy. One of the things that I liked about hiring high school coaches is I'd look at these dudes and they were on fire. You hire some of these college dudes, they go like, no, that's this next job, man. You kidding me? Man, I beat USC at the Coliseum on the last play of the game. Get you some of that, coach. I mean, I started off coaching 7th grade football. That was awesome, right? How do you do that, man? People know if you're genuine. Kids know if you believe in what you're doing. I'm telling you, he believes in what he's doing. He's got a lot of new people with him. He got to get all of them buying in. How you do that is hands on yourself. And what happens in a job like this, there's a lot more distraction. When I was a head coach at Allen High School, there wasn't near as many distractions as there was when I was a head coach at Arizona State. And then what happens to you, you kind of can get a little bit, this is for me, you can talk to anybody else. I got a little swelled up with importance. I kind of started wanting to walk around and be a head coach. And I started going like, man, I start to see things slipping. I'm going, So I think that's, what Coach is talking about at Nebraska. See, look how close Nebraska was to beating Colorado. God, they could have just got that done, right? So then it would change the whole outlook because the whole deal is the mentality. What brings about buy-in is winning. We got to get this stink off of us. And how you do it, man, you gotta strain, trumpet, whatever you got to do. You got to drive it forward. And so that's what really hurts because we live in this era of this cell phone. And man, there's such power in your words, right? I mean, all you'd have to do, all it would take, let me tell you something, just picture in your mind right now. We go out there, we go down to Auburn, and we beat them. Now, you get some buy-in, right? And all the people that buy into that, and they get on board with that, right, are part of something special, and everybody else is a part of the fellowship of the miserable, right? That makes sense? And so, I'm just telling you, but it's not, here's what I would tell you, I never made an excuse. It is you know, I'm not sitting here telling you that it is inexcusable, right? But the only thing that's gonna change it is getting some positive energy going forward. And I'm telling you what it is, you don't have the training in what I'm looking on film doesn't look like character, smart, discipline, tough to me. I'm seeing a lot of mental errors, a lot of little bitty things not done right, and those type of things, and those things got to get corrected. You got to get those things going. And what I'm seeing is not everybody. You're in a transition. You don't have everybody on the same page. I'll give you an example of what happened to me. I had a coaching staff where I'd had guys like Mike Norvell, the head coach at Memphis, was my offensive coordinator. He's the executor to my will. He worked for me for 15 straight years. I mean, when you have a staff that's together and doing it and working, it's so much easier to create that culture of what requires to win. Does that make sense? And so but the only thing can fix this is win. That's the only thing that can fix it.